So Europe is getting ready for war and it wants its citizens to prepare too. Brussels has issued guidelines for all 450 million Europeans. 450 million people across all 27 member states. Every household has been asked to maintain a survival kit to stock up on things like bottled water, canned food, a torch and basic supplies like toilet paper. This stock should last for at least 3 days. That is the instruction. It is part of a new European strategy for preparedness.
Today's threats facing Europe are more complex than ever, and they are all interconnected. The battlefields in our pockets, our phones, our computers, our power plants, our banks, our supply chains, our raw materials, and in the media, the social media we consumed every day. These are all battlefields, and they are being weaponized to threaten our European way of life and our democracies.
Brussels wants Europeans to be ready for anything. A war, cyber attacks, extreme weather events like floods or wildfires, even a major disease outbreak. Europeans must be self-sufficient, at least for the first 72 hours of any crisis. That is the key message of Europe's preparedness plan. Top EU leaders are urging people to act on it. They're suggesting keeping an emergency bag ready at home.
It's Ajalabi. Welcome to What's in My Bag Survival Edition. My document in a waterproof pouch, a must in a rainy Brussels. Let's talk about lighting. I have a flashlight and, of course, the light. Turn. And my special friend, a Swiss Army knife, and of course some cash. In the middle of a crisis, cash is king. A charger and a power bank, because a dead phone is a dead end. This is everything you need to survive the first 72 hours of a crisis. Speaking about being prepared, the EU is preparing its strategy to be sure that every citizen is safe in case of crisis. Be prepared, be safe.
Believe me, that's a real video. Hadja Labib shared it on X. She is the European Commissioner for Preparedness and Crisis Management. She is the driving force behind this plan, and it does not stop at survival kits. In future, the EU wants to have a National Preparedness Day. They haven't locked a date yet, but the plan is grand and exhaustive. Preparedness will become a part of the school curriculum. Europe feels it's an absolute must. Although most people would consider these measures extreme. They're asking 450 million people to keep emergency kits at home with stockpiles of canned food and toilet paper. Is Europe really heading into a war, or is this just fear-mongering? The trigger, of course, is the situation in Ukraine. Europe increasingly feels that it is at risk, that the threat of a conflict is higher. Different member countries are working on their own plans too, like France. This summer, all French citizens will get a manual, a survival manual, outlining clear and detailed steps, like what to do if a war or any major crisis breaks out. In fact, Belgium already has a website for its citizens. It has a list of items, things that every household should keep in an emergency pack. Germany and Poland have gone a step further. They have asked families to upgrade cellars, garages, or storerooms as bunkers. Homes in Poland are already doing this. One EU leader compared this to accident insurance. Listen to what they said. You want to be prepared and you want to minimize the damage, the costs, the suffering that you might go through. They make it sound rather so normal, but it's anything but normal. Stockpiling of critical supplies and turning basements into bunkers is not normal. People do this when a war looms. Governments are supposed to protect their people to keep them safe from harm. Instead, the EU is handing out an instruction manual with doomsday predictions, telling Europeans how to survive on their own for 72 hours when crisis hits. This is not insurance. This is leaving people to fend for themselves. The fact is, Europe's security landscape has changed. For decades, the bloc relied on American protection, but now that guarantee is fading. US President Donald Trump has issued repeated warnings. He does not want to pay for Europe's security, and Brussels was not prepared for this. Without the United States, Europe lacks a credible deterrent. The only solution is to raise defense spending. well beyond 2% of their GDP. That is what NATO prescribes for its members. 2% of the GDP should be spent on defense. A lot of members don't meet this figure, but now they're pulling up their socks. Sweden, for example, it wants to raise defense spending significantly to as high as 3.5% of its GDP. This is a welcome step, but it must be taken by the whole bloc. Europe needs stronger defenses, not safety manuals.
Greeting you with aloha and namaste.
No, I love India.
Presence, occupation of a territory by another country pertains to India, what we saw in Kashmir.
How do you see Trump's America?
Yes, the current administration behaves differently from the previous administration.
Are you saying that there are foreign powers who are trying to bring down the current government in Syria?
Exactly.
Iran, maybe Russia too.
Prime Minister Modi committed to South-South, cooperation.
Not over 50%.
Is Ukraine prepared to pay the price for that peace?
No compromises at the cost of territorial integrity and sovereignty.